You can do it if you want to. Good evening, folks. Mike here with the Antler Collector, and I'm at Bruce Jameson's shop today. And this is Bruce Jameson himself. This is his incredible white-tailed buck. These are the awesome sheds off his deer. And this has been a long time coming. I've always wanted to do something with Bruce regarding his deer and the history on it. And here's Bruce's. He can talk about it firsthand and kind of explain how things unfolded, because this has really never been put out to the extent of actually, talking about it one-on-one that I've ever seen. So let's just start out. Tell me, if you don't mind, Bruce, how the hunt started, the sheds and all that. Obviously you got one when he was pretty young,
Yeah, I would still have to say that this deer was probably a 4.5-year-old deer.
Okay.
He was going to be a super buck, as we seen, as he matured, but
yeah.
Originally the biologist wear-aged his teeth at 4.5 years old, so I tried to explain to them he would have been hard-pressed to be born with this antler if the wear-aging was correct back then. So anyway, this was a shed that my dad had found crappie fishing in the spring, that had laid out there for a year, and we just thought, man, that's a dandy for back in those days. I come from a large family, 6 brothers and 4 sisters, but all of us guys shot archery and deer hunted with our bows. And so even my dad he killed 2 deer with his compound bow when he was 82 years old.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Killed one when he was 91 with the crossbow. So anyway, we enjoyed a lot of time in the trees there. But anyway, he found this shed crappie fishing, just kind of brought it home like.
No, it's an awesome shed. And what year would that have been?
This would have been in 86, I believe.
Okay, so like maybe
1986.
Okay. And it may have laid maybe 6 months.
Yeah, it could have been a whole year.
Okay.
Laid out there. It had, some squirrel
sure
chewing on it, and
I guess if he found a crappie fishing in the spring, probably would have been a year. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right.
And so we really didn't.
Yeah.
It was just, man, there was a good one. Nobody had seen him. Didn't know if he was still alive.
Sure.
Then the season went on, and there was again no seeing him. And this is right where I was raised. This is a mile from where I lived. On my folks' home place there.
That's so cool. So on your own home place, this deer.
Yeah,
wow,
I mean,
amazing.
we didn't own the land there. My family, my grandpa and grandma owned 160 acres right there, a mile away, and so all the hunting, thinking this one's dead, and no camera, hunting back then. It was pretty much just natural eye scouting. Then this is found in the spring again, and I'm not saying there wasn't nobody seen him. I just didn't, or my brothers in my family, none of us. And the other side was found of this.
I think you may have told me what happened. It's a pretty sad story,
yeah.
But it kind of had some meaning behind the whole thing. So what did happen to it?
Well, a cousin of mine had found it.
Okay.
And it was on my grandparents' property there. And the other shed, matching this one, had 3 eye guards coming up like that.
So very similar to the next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was wired to the wall. And there was the cup nesting of I don't even know what bird does that, but you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you mean. I can't think of it either.
One of my uncles had picked that up and just set that nest right in there, and that hung on my grandmother's wall. I tried to get them to let me replicate it.
Oh, absolutely. Then you could have a match set.
And they're like, no, Grandma likes that up there. We'll just leave it up there. So I was just passive about that. One day I got a call and said, your grandmother's house, we heard it on the scanner, your grandmother's house is on fire.
That's too bad.
And I thought, that shed.
Yeah.
I believe they told me that Grandma was okay, that she
Yeah.
was out of the house. So that would have been my first concern.
Yeah.
But immediately after that, I ran over there. It's 5 miles from my shop.
Yep.
I like to knock the volunteer fireman down and took the hose out of his hand and started squirting up in this one area
Hoping that you could save
of
that
that
shed.
kitchen
Yeah.
to cool that shed area down. And finally the fire was low enough and pretty much out. I ran in there and I knew right where that was.
Yeah.
And still in the smoke and steam, and I grabbed that Antler and I ran out, and it was so hot, burning my hand even with gloves on, and I threw it on the ground. And you wouldn't think, but the water and the heat did something to that antler that when I threw it down, when it hit the ground, it fell apart like wet sheetrock.
Unreal. Wow.
And I mean literally into
Just pieces.
yeah, it was like a plaster thing that you had got wet and just
Well, it must have
threw
been
down.
hot. It must have been terrible.
Oh
hot.
yeah, it was crazy because I've seen deer. I've done a lot of
Mhm.
restoration work for fires and
Sure.
stuff. Never seen anything like that. Anyway, that was where some of that was humbling, just to say
Yeah.
you can't lay hold on things too tight
That's
because
exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right. I believe what you're saying there.
yeah, it's like one of these days we're gonna lay it all down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I was able to walk away and just say,
It's what it is. Yeah. It's meant to
You
be.
know,
It's what
yeah,
it is.
that's part of the story there. So we have this shed here.
Yeah.
That fire was a little later because I had already killed the deer.
Okay.
I just didn't have this shed, the other shed in my
Sure.
possession, but it was there.
Okay.
You know, it was at my grandma's house there,
Mhm.
and didn't want to step on any toes.
Yeah,
You know, it
I
was
get
somebody
that.
else's. They found it. Anyway, then
The following year then, after this?
yeah, these were found, but the fire happened a couple years later.
Sure.
Anyway, then the following year, again, never seen this deer.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, as Mike Pierce wrote the story
Mhm.
about calling it the ghost buck, because it's like you'd find these sheds
And never
at
seen
the
it.
end of the year and nobody's seen it. And there were guys through the years, somebody'd say, man, one night I was driving home, or coming home from the basketball game, and that thing ran across the road or something in front of me. But as far as just my family,
Yeah.
we had never seen it. The next year, one of the local neighbor guys had found one side. Then once he found that, he's like, I think he walked every, zigzag.
I don't blame them.
Every 4 yards until he found the other one, and I was able to buy them from him.
Sure.
And had them here at the shop.
Mm-hmm.
It was a noted deal amongst,
Sure.
all the local guys. We had them hanging up here on the wall
Yeah.
at the shop. And anyway, ended up the next fall.
Mm-hmm. Pretty close to here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5-6 miles. We
Yeah.
drove by it there when we left my house,
Yeah.
and I said, I still live in that area, and I said, those sheds that you
Yeah.
have collected there came from 3 miles here from this stop sign, and if it wasn't so dark, we would have just
Sure.
drove out there real quick.
Maybe one day I'll bring these down. If it's a cool
And-
day, we'll do a video of it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I shot him, like a half a mile to 3/4. I don't know exactly just where,
Yeah.
but around here everything's mile sections. So,
Okay.
Just
kinda like back home.
1 mile over here, 2 mile, but it could be a 1/4 mile apart, and it's in different mile sections. But anyway, I ended up seeing that deer that morning. I was going out to really put a stand up in a spot and he walked right by the spot where I was wanting to go put a stand up, and I
Carrying this big set.
put that
Yeah.
stand back in my truck and drove around to the other side of the section and came in, and in these strip mine areas, some of
Yeah.
the water, the strip pit full of water there detours,
Sure.
and put some necking down areas there and some funnels.
Now, is this just like one strip pit, or is it like several off of one? Or
Well,
I saw on Google Earth here the other day, I was just looking in southeast Kansas, and I saw this beautiful.
like the Everglades.
Yeah,
from
and
the-
I was like,
from the
man, that
sky.
is amazing.
Yeah, until you try to get in there to hunt it.
Oh, I could imagine.
So anyway, in that section there is a lot of water, but then there was some of it that, if you understand the coal mining, they'd dig a furrow, stack it over here, stack
Yeah.
it over here, and then finally they'd end up with one big, deep spot there.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it would fill with water, and so, anyway, the deer, I seen him, stalked after. I drove around, got out, went back in this area and set up, was about ready to leave.
Ugh.
And I looked up and I thought, there he is. I'd seen him in velvet that year, the year in 1989, the year I killed
Yeah.
it. I seen him in velvet in August with
Okay.
7 other bucks.
Okay.
And I really almost killed another buck. A little bit of time in the same area there.
Yeah.
And one of the other neighbors killed it. It was like a 178-inch buck, a tremendous trophy,
Sure.
especially in those days. And I was trying to hang a stand in that spot, the same thing, early in the morning. And that chain, I was trying to throw it around that tree. And I really rattled that buck in, and I'm hanging on the side of the
Oh.
tree, and I hear that, and I turn around and look, and it's cracking
Oh my.
daylight, and I've got that big buck there, and I'm just hanging on the tree, and he runs off.
So you saw that running away, the set of deer?
Not this one, the 178-inch
Oh, I'm
buck.
sorry.
Had I been
Okay.
in that stand,
Okay.
I
yeah.
would have shot that deer.
Okay.
Because again, having those sheds, but never seeing.
Sure.
Well, and I did see him, I guess, in velvet there, and but still, you didn't pass up 100 and close to 180-inch deer
No.
in those days. Anyway, ended up seeing that deer, watching him for a little bit. He went out of sight. I tried to sneak over there, arrow knocked, ready to shoot, and the deer jumped up, whether he was bedded or just in between the swags of the furrows of these strip pits where I couldn't see him, and he came up and I came up, and all of a sudden there was just a crash, and this deer, instead of going away from me, tried to circle back around me. And we talked about this earlier
this is
there,
amazing.
about
Yeah.
being a goof around shooter, always shooting shots that you never really practice. Guys, today we can shoot 80 yards with a compound, but back then we would grab somebody's hat and throw it in the air and shoot it. Use a lot of flu arrows, but you were always shooting a rabbit jump up. And you'd shoot at it.
Yeah.
So
That
some
spare
shots,
the moment shot. Yeah.
yeah, that instinct, that
Exactly.
instinct of
Yeah.
things. My dad would talk about picking up rocks and go rabbit hunting. There was a lot of rabbits,
Yeah.
but he said, it's amazing if you just if you never throw at one, you never hit it.
That's exactly right.
So anyway, the shot wasn't maybe the best ethical. I was just used to doing things
Sure.
like that. I'd shot
Mhm.
a lot of things that if I'd have had a GoPro on my front of my bow back then, it would have been pretty incredible.
Oh man.
But
So he turns and runs, and
yeah, it turns to run, and really it's coming back. He's jumped
Mhm.
up ahead of me and is going to run around me, and I draw and shoot, and
where at? Where at on the deer here? Did you hit him?
well, I mean, I hit him in the lungs.
Yeah.
It looked a little far back,
Okay.
but he had done got past me.
Okay.
So I called my dad.
Yeah.
Went and got my brother ran an engineering office where he could leave, and I said, I shot that big buck, and of course I got a lecture all the way.
How were you
out there.
feeling about it?
I knew I'd killed the deer.
Wow.
I always shot the biggest broadhead you could buy,
Mhm.
shooting an inch and a half 3-blade fixed blade
Okay.
with big helical feathers to get them to fly right.
Mhm.
And so I knew
Wow.
that it was going to be a matter of finding him,
Sure.
because I knew it was just leveled, the angle that it went through, but I seen that arrow.
Did he run out of sight?
He ran about 70 yards and stopped, and I could see about that much of that top of his antlers, and he stopped and looked, and then he went
Okay.
out of sight, just in those strip pits. 5 yards he can be out of sight.
Okay.
Wow. So I snuck out of there.
Mhm.
Just like unbelievable excitement after
Oh.
the shot.
I could imagine.
And so I went and I don't know how long you want to go into the story there, but I went and got some help, and
Mhm.
I called my sister. I said, could you go open the shop up? I said, I shot that big buck. She said, you shot a big one? I said, no, not a big one. I shot the big one, that the sheds. And I said,
Gosh.
we're going to go look for him. So
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe just don't announce it,
Yeah.
until, anyway, me and my brother, we went and put my dad on the other side
Mhm.
of the section where he could just watch if we jumped that deer, because I knew he was going to die. It was a matter of finding that deer. So
That's
my
incredible.
brother, he's just storming right to where did you shoot? I said, man, he ran past that cedar tree and somewhere
Yeah.
right in there.
Yeah.
We walked over that spot, and there was what we would call, some of these pits were smaller. They were drug with a horse or a mule drawn drag line.
Hmm.
So the furrows weren't like only
Right.
8 or 10 feet instead of some of our big mining has, 30 and 40 foot furrow mounds in it.
Sure.
And so, but there was water
Mhm.
in that, good fishing, just a
Deep
little.
water?
Oh no, it would just been
Okay.
6 foot or something.
Yeah, that's deep enough.
Yeah.
Not gonna like walk across it.
Um,
So.
But it was like the deer, if he wanted to run that way, he could have almost jumped across it. They're not
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not 10 foot wide in
Mhm.
those little, we call them potholes.
So
or
easy for
those-
him to get through, but not so easy
Yeah.
for you to walk through.
But that water was there, and he's like, can we find your arrow? And we walked, and there my arrow was. It had shot through it and was floating
Wow.
in that water. Pretty windy day.
Mm.
And boy, I got down there and got a limb, raked it over. Of course,
Mm.
everybody wants to examine the arrow for
Sure.
the blood. And here it's been in this windy wave
Yeah.
of water washing the fletch. Got it up, and the arrows.
Clean.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see a little debris on the fletching because feathers,
Yeah.
hold that. But he says, here's blood. And usually when you see it right where you shoot and there's a bunch of blood, it's usually a good sign.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, that looks like lung blood. Well, I'm like caution, because I know that thing looked a little far back, but the angle forward, you just, and even an arrow can take a little bit different
Yeah.
angle on coming out. But he's steady. He's like, this looks like good blood, bro. And we got up. I said he stopped right up here somewhere. Of course, we get up there, and there's just the circle of sign on the ground.
Unreal.
And he's like, I said, now he went out of my sight. Either he went over that dump or over this dump. And he said, I'll look over this one. And I went to look over this one. And about that time, I heard, oh, buddy.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, buddy. And walked up over that. And all this probably took 2 hours.
Sure. Probably.
And
Wow.
here he is laying there 5 yards out of my sight. I went and got everybody, called, and we were set my dad up as a watch to see if we bumped that deer, if he ran out of that section. And we walked back out of there, said we got to go get Dad to experience
absolutely.
part of this. He's sitting over there, and I remember we drove around there and we honked and honked and honked, you know, and he's like, finally here he comes tromping out. And my dad, it was funny. He got in his truck and he said, you missed him, didn't you? Because I mean, you know, I never went and tracked. I never went and found the arrow. He said, you missed him. Because it's like, then it happened real fast because we just walked in there.
Right.
All this setup time and getting him placed where he could watch a deer trying to leave the section, and we go back around and all of a sudden it's like, he's right here. We go back and get him. He goes back and he gets in his little S10 pickup and takes to drive home. It was just a mile down the road. He's like, you missed him, didn't you? And I said, no, I got him. He's laying right over. And he said, yeah, right. He's like, and he drove. And we had to pass him and stop again and say, no, Dad, really, because we're jokers, you know.
So he's ready to go home.
Yeah,
he
he's
didn't
like,
believe it.
he's like,
That's funny.
You missed him, didn't you? Found the arrow. Anyway, after a couple persuasions, I said, no, come on, really, he's laying over here, Dad. And we went over there, and it was quite a deal. The deer field dressed 200 and right at 250 pounds.
So just a brute all around.
Yeah, to be field dressed, and back in those days, I mean, these deer come in today, they still have fat on them in December.
Yeah.
Back in those days, the bucks were rutted out.
Mhm.
You know, it looked like you were skinning a
Sure.
rabbit. No body fat on them at all, but a big animal. You know,
Right.
the eye to nose measurements being 8 1/4. You know, nowadays I've just watched our deer body size shrink.
We talk about this as antler collectors, and we talk about the antler back in the 80s and early 90s is like dinosaur antler, and even prior years to that. It's just like better quality. We don't know what's really causing it. Well, I kind of wondered if it wasn't all this these chemicals on the crop fields. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it kind of makes you wonder, all these, you know, Roundup Ready beans and stuff getting sprayed, and is it causing the bones themselves to actually become less dense? Because you don't really see, it's very rare to see big heavy horn like this.
Yeah, I think we just pay attention to it now.
And that's a very good,
We used to
very
not,
good point.
like, man, look at there. I repair a lot of antlers. You do too. If you'll notice, one deer in the same season, if you want to drill up that tine, it's like drilling up pine wood. It's so soft. And some of them I literally have to put in my bench vise with a piece of leather wrapped around it to drill up in it, because it's like you're drilling a piece of aluminum key stock.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And so the mineral that they're getting, the bone density, some of it's like, man, you's just different.
Yeah, I agree on that too.
And being one of 10 kids, and even 6 brothers, I mean, we're all different.
Yeah, that's exactly
You know,
right.
bigger. I got little brother
Yeah.
that's older and
Well, it's, yeah, like my brother, he's taller than me, he's a bigger statued person.
yeah.
So I get it.
Um,
And I get it, that's a lot of times what happens. I just noticed, we've noticed a lot of that older antler is real good quality. But maybe it's just because it's pure antler from the old days, and who really knows? It's something we'll never probably figure out, but I'm glad we're here to enjoy these.
yeah.
Because we do appreciate them as hunters and collectors. So when you got your deer back, eventually you got it scored. What was the gross score? Do you recall?
I believe it was 260, 269. I would have to.
I think it's in the book at 253 or something like that. But so somewhere in that area, he's got a
The
little bit of
gross?
deduction. I think it's well, I'm talking
I
about the
think
net.
I have
think
the original score sheet right over there in that drawer.
That'd be cool. If you do have it, let's read it off. That'd be really cool.
Let me be.
Check this here. Make sure it's still recording. Oh yeah. While he's looking for that, I will talk a little bit about this shed. This is the year before the set directly before this deer was killed. This shed here is around 4 pounds. I scored this a long time ago, and I was thinking it's around 103 inches, but very pretty antler. And when we get done with this initial interview, I will kind of zoom in here and give you a better look at all these antlers. But yeah, it's pretty amazing what this deer did. And he looks relatively similar to this shed and this shed here. He did break on this antler here. He did break off this here. He really flattened out his G2 though this year. I mean, that's just a whopper wide G2. You can see that. It's a little shorter though, but it grew it. It's still the same amount of antler mass and circumference in there. But I think Bruce has got maybe a score sheet here, so we'll be able to give you the exact numbers that were on the initial score.
So,
Okay. Probably not, but I can figure it out. 253 is not, that's the right there.
yeah, 253 and 7
All right.
I got a calculator. You need it?
No, I don't. All right, so we got this score sheet. Oh, what's the date on this? 11/13 of 89. So 1989. So we have an 89 and an 1/8 inch right typical portion. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 89 and an 1/8, and then the left is an 86.3 as a 5 point. Listen to this mass. 8. The next mass, this on the right side, the mass on the base, it says it's 8 and 0/8, 7 and 4/8, 6 and 5/8, 5 and 0/8. The other side is 7/4, 6/4, 5/4, 4/7. 28 and 27 beams. So the total gross is 264 and 1/8. And the final net is 253 and 7/8. 20 and 5/8 inside with the greatest spread of 25. Typical frame is 196 and an 1/8. I mean, it's just mass and tallness. Such an unbelievable whitetail buck. And when we get done here, I will zoom in. I'll bring the camera and we'll just kind of look the rack over more carefully. So the biggest side on this rack is 130. See, we're looking at 133 and 4/8, which is the animal's right side. The other side is 110 and 6/8. So 110 and 133. This antler here was 132, which would be the bigger side on the rack. He did break that off, so relatively about the same score on this shed here as the rack. It's just more massive on the rack. It's just hard to believe. Like if someone would have handed me these and said, probably gonna be hard to beat that for mass, I'd have been like, it ain't gonna happen. And then you shoot the deer and the bases are as big as Hulk Hogan's wrist, you know, they're huge.
And we still really don't know how old the deer is. If we went
Yeah.
4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
this could have been 3.5
Yeah.
on a super buck,
Mm-hmm.
but this could have been 5.5. We
It-
really don't know.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah. And are you sure that's the year before? That's the other question. Before this one.
You know, there's no way of knowing just for sure, but
I mean, there could have been a 2 or 3 year gap there. Just food for thought.
yeah, but you can just pretty much tell that that's probably a year jump, as big as he jumped
Sure.
each year like that.
Look at how that side, on that smallest antler you're holding there, look how that side, it flattened out. Look at that.
Yeah,
That one there. You can see how it's
that
flattened
bladed,
out.
that bladed.
And it's weird, this point here on this one is like that. Look at that. But on this year, he flattened it out, and he had it flat on that year. And I see deer do that. Over years of collecting, they'll make points look like the same point on another set. It's really amazing.
Yeah, and there's, this year here, you know, I remember it being so dry.
89 was. That was the year of the drought. I remember it well.
Yeah, I mean,
McDowell Creek, where I grew up, dried plumb up. Never done that since.
well, I could remember because I was trying to hunt in this area, and it was like all the local guys would drive around
Mhm.
in the evenings to look at deer,
You know?
and the country roads were so dusty
Mm-hmm.
that drive down the road, the trees were just covered
Yeah, white.
with
Yeah.
dust, and guys don't realize what that affects a deer and smelling. If you're a bird dog guy,
Mm,
you know, and you try to hunt in dry,
sure.
the best bird dog can't smell a quail right underneath his nose if he's, you know, that dry.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that being a.
And
quite
so
a
the deer, and it does, anytime you take away their senses, it can put a little reservation on their movement and stuff.
Sure.
And especially coming in rut, when they don't have no smell, they're running dry nose like a dog. They just got to spook one up.
Mm-hmm.
And so they tend to travel more, and it may be more at night and
Yeah.
things, but
Well, I know you've been bow hunting a long time, and you know a lot about deer, and we talked prior about other things, and Bruce is very knowledgeable. So it's quite amazing. I appreciate you letting this all happen today and come down and do this video on this deer and the sheds and all that. It's awesome, and I'm glad I'm able to live the moment with you where you explain to me how everything went down, because I told Bruce that when I was a young kid, back in '89, I was 14 years old, and I saw his deer on the front cover of North American Whitetail. And prior to his deer, I had seen the Kenny Fowler buck, and I think it was '87 if I remember right. And I kind of fell in love with that look. But boy, when I saw yours, it had the mass that was just beyond belief up here, and I fell in love with that deer, and to this day, it's one of my very favorite heads. So, good times.
yeah, the Fowler buck was incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's where these sheds were introduced, and the Fowler buck was at that show.
Okay.
That I had these just on display, mounted as a set of sheds like that, and
Yeah,
which we had the spread set
sure.
to just almost silly width, but
Yeah.
it's like it ate the state record so bad. with
The Waters buck,
it's like-
was it?
Huh?
Was that the Waters buck?
Well, no, the Fowler buck
Oh,
at the time.
at the time, yeah.
At the time, the
Yeah.
Fowler buck was the state record
Right, that's correct.
archery kill. at 257.
257, yeah.
And anyway, it was like, you know, I had these
Yeah.
sheds that was
They were mounted about that wide.
yeah, 260. Well,
Yeah.
and it was just
It's in North American Whitetail, I think. There's a picture of it with the mount in your state.
yeah, the sheds were mounted, and I had the actual deer. With the deer was on the body, on the carcass, and I had the shed mount sitting there beside it. Yeah, it's laying out like that. So anyway,
Well,
it was a good visit with you, brother.
yes, I appreciate it, Bruce, more than you know. And before we end here, I'm going to kind of zoom in and get a look at these antlers to show you guys the awesome character of these antlers. So, all right. Start up here at the deer. I mean, this deer is just, it's truly unbelievable. And this is a replica of his deer, but look at the base. I mean, it's just so big. Like the base of that antler's, it's like 4 fingers wide.
Yes, this was the 8-inch base.
Yeah.
But if you just take a mass measurement that is not an illegal area to take mass measurement, that's 11 inches
Crazy. Yeah.
of mass around that beam right there.
Wow. Incredible. And you can see it here. Yeah, look at that view, guys. Isn't that amazing? It's truly a brush pile. Just a giant brush pile going up. But yet it has a typical frame. Very pronounced typical frame. I mean, just look at you can see there's gorgeous matching inlines. Always had them pretty much, so his genetics there. He's got these points off the back. Just such a fantastic head. Like I said, it was a childhood buck that I grew up with, and just amazing. You know, look at that point just sticking up out of there. Huge mass, just huge. It's hard to see, but gosh. Definitely a deer of the old days, of the good times. Maybe they're good. Maybe they're good to us because that's, you know, we grew up and that's what we remember. But it just seemed like times were so much more simpler and deer were bigger. I know they kill a lot of big deer still these days, but the
framiness is
just
not there.
Yeah.
What we call a big framey deer.
Agree.
We do 5 or 6 or 10 deer a year over 200 inches, and they're just you just don't find much of those framey big bucks like that.
Most people have no idea, and I'm talking this deer up a little bit, but they have no idea how big the Jameson buck is. This point here, I mean, it's probably 14 inches, 15, maybe more. It's just one of the greatest. Absolutely love the rack. So I want everyone to know we had a good visit today, and hopefully Bruce kills one a little bit bigger this year.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the goal.
Not. But you never know. You have to just go hunting. Last year, no cameras, no bait. Visited with one of my buddies, and he's like, "How you gonna go out there? You never have a picture of a big one, you know." He's like, "It's gonna be. You're telling me it's the best morning of the year in the morning, and you're gonna go hunt this spot."
Yeah.
And I said, some of it is just because you don't put anything into it. Now the hunting is like, I just want to get a picture of one and then go shoot it.
Absolutely.
And I said, you just want to go and let one surprise you. And I said, they always look bigger to you than you think they are. And usually you miss. So you get all that fun out of that hunt instead of just complaining because I don't have nothing on camera. And I said, but I still scout, and if I can shoot the best one I got or the oldest one I got, it's still what I have to hunt nowadays. And that next morning I went to what we call our 120 ranch, because that's just all we ever kill off of it or see on it. And I shoot 186-inch deer that next morning off of the place we've owned for 25 years and never seeing a big buck.
See, isn't that something? So, and you know, I don't run cameras and never have, because I like the excitement of not knowing what's out there. For me, that's more special than just knowing with a camera myself. Like, you just don't see all the deer.
Yeah, it's different. They resurfaced the Outdoor Life magazine story of this back in 90 or 91, and so many of the old guys, you know, my only comment was, things sure have changed a lot in the hunting from this days. And several of the, you know, the known hunter guys that chimed in on that was, it's completely different. That I said the only pictures we had were if you got them in the back of the truck.
Exactly.
You know, then you got to take a Polaroid
or the car.
I can remember my brother first one he pulled up with in a '67 Impala in the trunk with a big old buck with this recurve. So
my big wide one, it was in the back of the Pontiac 6000. That was. I don't have that picture. It was. I don't know what happened to it. I've looked. I can't find it. I don't know if I gave it to a friend to look at, but it looked so big in the back of that. You know, in the back of that Pontiac. It just. Those were great memories and times. Well, we'll wrap this up. It's good. Hope you all enjoy this video. It was a real pleasure. Appreciate it more than you know.
Yeah, it's good visit.
Again, the Bruce Jameson buck. Sheds here, but there's the Bruce Jameson sheds. All right, we'll close this out.